What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are going to break down the full card for Henry Cejudo versus Yadong Song. First fight of the night, we've got Austin Vanderford 12-2 versus Nikolai Veretennikov 12-5. Veretennikov should fuck him up, in my opinion. He is a very good striker. Very close fight with Danny Barlow, split decision. Been in there with Michael Morales, a very, very underrated, under the radar fighter in the UFC welterweight division. I think he's going to cruise here, and I think it's going to be one way traffic, and he can crack. So knockout wouldn't be surprising at all. But I'm definitely on Veretennikov. What do you think?
I didn't really look at too much of Veretennikov. I just got basically I saw the fight like right before we sent this, so took a couple looks at him on YouTube, some quick film. Yeah, Danny Barlow, close fight. Danny Barlow, decent fighter, not the best. The one against Michael Morales was a decently close fight, and I got to see that one too. And like you said, Michael Morales is an under the radar, really good fighter, right? So, and the other three fights in between, he fucked those guys up pretty hardcore. Now, Austin, what I know about is Austin Vanderford, and I'm not fucking sold on Austin Vanderford. Let's be quiet. Mr. Page Van Zant there, I'm not sold.
He gets knocked out, man, and this guy hits hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, he does get knocked out. And listen, Gegard, when he fought him, wasn't the Gegard we knew from the past. This was an over the sort of hill Gegard who was actually on his downswing at the point of that time. So he's getting knocked out. Not that Gegard's a bad striker. He's a very good striker. But at that point in his career, Austin was the younger guy, the faster guy, and should have probably used his speed a little bit more, and he couldn't. So if he's not doing it against him, from what I saw of the Russian guy there, and Aaron Jeffrey knocked him out, and so that was a bad one too, right? So yeah, I think it's a clash of styles. Unless Austin Vanderford's able to take him down and ride him out for 3 rounds. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. So that's his path to victory. But let's go with the Russian.
All right, next fight of the night, we've got a striking match. We got Modestas Bukauskas 16-6. Pretty sizable favorite here, and like Tapology is like through the roof on this guy versus Rafael Cerqueira 11-1. Um, I don't like the odds. Like I'm not a huge Bukauskas fan in general. I find him to be kind of low volume, and for a striker, he's not like overly dangerous. Like I don't know, man. Like when you see a striker, you either want like super fast, super technical, or you want some knockout power. And to me, he's really something like he's none of those things. He's just I don't know. I don't find him. I find him boring. I find him low volume. I don't find him dangerous. I don't find him overly fast. There's nothing about him that I really like, so I don't like him as a big favorite, to be honest. Now, Cerqueira obviously getting flattened in, I don't know what it was, a minute or something like that to Aslan or however it was. I mean, obviously not a great look there. So I think people think that this guy just sucks and he gets chinned or whatever, but he can crack too. I mean, yeah, he probably loses. He's probably not as technical, but I just don't like the odds. I'm not betting Bukauskas at like minus 350. I just can't do it. So I guess I'll pick him to win, but I wouldn't bet him. What do you think?
I'm not gonna pick him to win. It's not that I have that much faith in the other guy. It's just I don't like the odds. This is a definite odds play. So like Bukauskas, even in that arm triangle that he got on Pacquiao, I'm pretty sure that he was losing that fight up to that point. He was getting double outstruck at that point. And yeah, and he didn't even look good in that fight that he beat Zach Pauga in. And Zach Pauga, I feel like, is not a great striker. And he didn't even look good in that fight against Tyson Pedro that he won. These are all split hair decisions, right? And for that to happen in his last 4 fights and to lose to Petrino, we got fraud checked by fucking Anthony Smith. I don't know, man. Those are four comme si comme ça wins slash losses. And now you're a minus 300 against a guy that can crack. I'm not saying his experience in fighting is low level at best. He hasn't been fighting great fighters, but neither has Bukauskas. It's not like Bukauskas has been fighting the top of the top. And if anything, this guy can crack. And what is Bukauskas' like fucking Achilles heel is guys that can crack, right? He loses to guys that can crack. So, I mean, even Jimmy Groot knocked his ass out. He's getting knocked out by these guys very early in fights. So, if this guy can do something, he can crack. So, I mean, if you're going to take Rafael, you're going to take him by knockout. right? You're going to take him by knockout because his path to victory is to knock this guy out. He probably doesn't win a decision because Bukauskas seems to have the judges on his side. So, yeah, man, I'm going to play Rafael by knockout because plus 240 his knockout's got to be 300, 400, something like that, I would think, right? And they're not giving this guy a big chance to win, so I might get a good number on the knockout. I really like the knockout.
All right, I like it. Next fight of the night, we got Nick Klein, 6-1, taking on the 7-0 monster Mansour Abdul Malik. Nick Klein is a sacrificial lamb here. I don't know what he's going to be able to do. I feel fucking bad for this guy. But Mansour Abdul Malik is a fucking monster, dude. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's going to get fraud checked eventually. But, like, would it be fraud checked? He's just a fucking freak ass athlete who's using his athletic ability and wrestling credentials to just steamroll guys or whatever. Like, yeah, eventually someone will be able to stuff his takedowns and be the better striker. But the guy is a fucking monster, man. He's got to be one of the scariest fighters ever in that division. Like, he's like the modern young Yoel Romero or something like that. Like, he is a fucking beast, man. Like, I would love to see like him and Bo Nickel or something because they're both obviously wrestlers. This guy is fucking jacked. He's got all the power in the world. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck Nick Klein's supposed to do here. Is he supposed to out wrestle him? No, not gonna happen. He better pray he's got a fucking Homer Simpson head that can just take a beating for 2.5 rounds and then like maybe Mansour gasses and then he wins at the end. That's his only like. There's I just don't see a path to victory. I think Mansour is like probably the safest pick on the card. I think he's a fun prospect. Sure, maybe he won't be the champion or whatever, but I'm going to enjoy him destroying guys on the way up. And yeah, he looked impressive as fuck to me. Anyway, or he looked scary at least to me. What do you think?
He's gonna win, but minus 1,000 is just a little bit too
Oh,
much.
I didn't even know. I didn't know the odds
Yeah,
on
minus
it.
1,000 is a little bit too much. So Nick Lyon's a submission guy. He's a guy that takes guys down. He's a guy that subs guys. It, it works, but like this guy is, I think he's just too strong. However, he did get taken down twice in his fucking debut. Bad luck. But like Nick Klein, man, I see that he's just this guy. He's just lanky. He's just I just can't see him out maneuvering Malik. Okay, so Malik will get fraud checked. Don't kid me. He will get fraud checked. I just don't think Nick Klein's the guy to fraud check him with it. I just don't. That's it. Okay, like that's it. Skill for sale. I think this guy just runs through him because Nick Klein looks like a one-trick pony. He doesn't look like he has too much striking, and he can't take a punch. Honestly, I don't know if he's ever had a truck hit him because this is what's going to happen right now. So yeah, minus 1,000, not a chance. Inside the distance, probably not a chance. I don't know. Play him on DFS. Play him on fantasy. That's about it.
I'll be taking Mansour to finish for sure.
Yeah, but you're only gonna get like minus three, 400, isn't
But
he?
he could just pick the fucking guy up and slam him through the fucking ring or something. Like, I don't know, man.
Oh,
Some fucking, the guy's a monster.
yes, dude.
All right. Next fight of the night, we got Ricky Simone, 20-6, taking on Javid Basharat, 14-1. Two guys I really don't like. I've never liked Ricky at all. I don't think he's gonna have much success here because Basharat he can fucking grapple, man. He can grapple, and he's got to have the better hands. It's not like Ricky can strike. So Ricky always has a chance against anyone that he can take down and out grapple like that. But he's not going to out grapple Basharat. He's not going to outstrike Basharat. I think it's pretty clear cut. It's probably a decision. It's probably not the most exciting fight, but I think Basharat is better everywhere. What do you think?
I think they're pretty much they're like almost the same fighter in the sense that Ricky's the striking has gotten better over the years, but Basharat actually is way more technical than Ricky when it comes to it. And you know what? Basharat's a very well-rounded guy. He throws with volume and he works in those takedowns all the time, man. So I don't know. Can Basharat take down Ricky? I think he probably might be able to, but does he even have to? Unlike the other Basharat, he doesn't depend on wrestling. He just works in wrestling, right? So he's more of the striker and that works in the wrestling. He's the guy that can throw 95, 80, 89 strikes and get a couple takedowns. His brother's the guy that takes him down 5 times and lays on him, right? This guy's a little bit more active. And on the feet, I think it's a wash. I think this guy's faster. I think he's more technical. And I've never been happy with the way Ricky struck, to be quite honest with you. And honestly, man, the shots have been lazy in these last few fights from Ricky, and he hasn't looked the same. Like he had that same, drive that he used to. And yeah, I think Song Yadong took it out of him in that one fight, to be quite honest. So, yeah, man, you can't out wrestle him. I don't think so. And if he's not getting him down, Ricky's a lay and pray guy, right? That's how he beat Maram.
Yep. All right, next fight of the night, we have got Nursultan Ruziboev, 34-9-2, ton of experience, taking on Eric McConico, 9-2-1. I'm not gonna lie here, I don't know a ton about Eric. I watched literally a couple minutes of clips, not enough to have a strong opinion, but it seems like a significant step down here for Nursultan. I don't think this Eric guy's as good as Buckley, no chance, and I don't think he's as good as even Bruno Ferreira or any of that. So I think Nursultan should be able to fucking flatline him. I think. I mean, whether he gets a knockout or not, I don't think he's gonna get taken down and blanketed, and I don't think he's gonna get outstruck. So like I said, I don't know enough. Maybe you can shed some light here, but to me, it looks like a step down. It looks like a spot for Nursultan to get right. What do you think?
Monaco, he's okay. Like at least he's well rounded, and he looks like he could be a good prospect in in another spot. Now, my issue with the spot is that who's Nursultan been fighting, right? Like he's fighting Yoki Buckley, dumbass, Bruno Ferreira. Uh, Out of those three fights, both those guys are better than anything McConico's ever seen in his entire life, right? You know what I mean? So this guy is decent on the regional scene. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple things working against him here because actually, though, I'll be honest with you. I think Nursultan wins. Minus 300 is a lot because I think this becomes a firefight, to be quite honest with you. So this guy McConico has a chance because Nursultan, he doesn't go in there and tries to technically box you. He doesn't try to stand at range. He just goes after you, right? He goes after it and usually gets it. But if you can keep him at bay, like Buckley did, um, you know, you can win that fight. Now, minus 300, I feel like is too much. I like Nursultan to win this fight, but minus 300 is too much. McConico has skills, and it's a debut. My thing is really, it's what you said. It's a step down. Nursultan's have a couple harder fights, and they might be wanting to give him a little bit of a gimme, right? I still don't like minus 300 though, but I pick Nursultan to win.
All right. Next fight of the night, we got Jan Cutelaba, 18-10-1, taking on Ibo Aslan, 14-1. Everybody's on Aslan by knockout, and of course, it's quite possible. I mean, that's what he does. He's literally a first round knockout artist. That's how he wins. He's a big guy. I'm more than anything, I'm actually waiting for this guy to get fraud checked though. Like, does he have wrestling? Does he have takedown defense? Has anybody tried to grapple him? Because you got to think Cutelaba is not going to go in there. I mean, he is pretty dumb, so maybe he will try and strike with him. But you'd have to think he's going to shoot right away, try and take him down, and try and choke him out. The problem is can he? Like again, I don't know where Aslan's grappling skills are. All we see are these super quick fights. So I get why the consensus is the quick knockout. I get why the whole world's on the guy. But again, I don't know. I feel like he's due to get fraud checks. Oh, somebody's calling me here. No, can't answer that one. Yeah, I'll take Aslan by knockout because Cutelaba is an idiot and he's not overly durable himself. But I don't love this Aslan guy from what I've seen so far. What do you think?
I think Cutelaba and Kevin Holland are like worst IQ fighters in all of the UFC, and I've said it in multiple times. Oh, you're sideways. Um, but so Aslan showed me a couple of things in his last two fights. Not so much that last fight, more about that Turkali fight 2 fights ago, because he fought Turkali earlier on in his career, and Turkali waited him out and then took him down and then pounded him out. Aslan took Turkali to the third round, and his power carried through to that third round. So obviously he's making those steps up in his progression as a fighter, and that looked pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you know, that showed me that yeah, he's getting better. So you know what I mean? So, now on Cutelaba, like he does go for the wrestling, but you don't know where his gas tank is, man. Where's that gas tank at? And he's so up and down. When he's supposed to wrestle, he fights, he strikes, and when he's supposed to strike, he wrestles. And honestly, I don't even think wrestling is going to work. Maybe in the first round, but I think as the fight goes on, I think Aslan has the better cardio out of the two of these two screw bags. To be honest with you, he definitely I feel has the more technical striking. Cutelaba has the better wrestling. But I'm going to say Aslan has the better IQ. He showed a little bit of progression. It's that Turkali fight, man. I picked Turkali to beat him in the second fight because I thought Turkali would go in there with the IQ of how he beat him in the first fight. He sort of did, but Aslan took whatever best that guy had and just whooped them. So I can go Aslan. I don't mind the odds at minus 170. I hate Kutalaba. I hate him.
Me too, 100%. Next for the night, we got Andre Fili, 24-11, taking on Melky Costa, 21-7. I think both of these guys are the definition of inconsistent. Like, I wouldn't trust either guy. I don't know what the odds are here. I think,
50-50.
oh, okay. I thought Fili was going to be the favorite, to be honest. I feel like Fili is, dare I say, more dangerous, or he could knock him out on the feet, kind of thing. And Costa definitely could hold the edge if he can chain wrestle and just be on him the whole fight and take him down, tire him out. I mean, there's times I don't want to say Fili's a quitter because he definitely has heart. I don't want to say that, but there's like sometimes where he just seems like he's just not all. I don't know. Like after he gets taken down a few times, sometimes it's almost like he has an expression of like giving up or something like that. So I think Fili can win the fight. I think they both have a path to victory. I think they both have paths to victory. Fili, if he can keep it standing, I think he's the better striker. If Costa's shooting takedowns nonstop, I think he could potentially grapple fuck him. And they're both just so inconsistent that I wouldn't want to put money on either guy, to be honest. What do you think?
I don't think Costa can grapple him because there's only one person that's ever grappled him and held him down for the entire fight, and that was Bryce Mitchell back in the day. So Andre Fili's big weakness over the last part of his career has been power punchers. Do we call Mel Costa a power puncher at any mean? I don't think so. I don't think so. And Melk, I had high hopes for this guy, but in his last couple fights, he's shown a big chink in the armor. Like he's so like against Austin Lingo, he's taking him down hundreds of significant strikes, and then like every other fight I've ever seen from him, he's been so low volume. Yeah, he's
Inconsistent.
winning by subs and losing by subs, but like, ah, for some reason, I'm seeing an Andre Fili knockout or an Andre Fili like ground and pound. It's just like that's what I'm seeing here. I feel like Fili's the way better striker. He stays on the feet here and he wins this for sure. He gets taken down. Melk will ride out a decision. I can't see him tapping out Andre Fili, you know what I mean? Like Bryce Mitchell, I would say, is a way better grappler than Melk Costa is. And if he can't get him in a fucking choke and it's 7 takedowns and complete control of that fight, I can't see Melk doing it. So, I mean, there's two options here. It's a Fili knockout or a Melk. If you're like the Melk side, I say it's Melk decision. I don't think Melk can finish him because if Bryce is not going to finish him on the ground, I think this guy's a well-versed veteran that you just won't get finished. Depends on what side you like. I like Fili, but if you like the other side in Costa, I like the decision prop if you want to go that way.
All right, guys, moving on to the main card. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe. We appreciate it. First fight of the main card, we got Alonzo Menifield, 15-5-1, taking on Julius Walker, 6-0. Julius Walker, not a ton of experience, not a ton of footage to watch. He seems to be a decent fighter, but that being said, I mean, it should be a massive step down for Menifield. I mean, this is a guy who took on Carlos Ulberg, and Carlos Ulberg is on the verge of a title shot. Before that, I mean, he beat up Jimmy Crute twice. I mean,
He's
it's
golden too,
just
right?
yes, yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like this seems like it should be a step down. Menifield hits hard as hell. He's definitely no one can question his power. I don't love Menifield. I don't think like he has any spectacular skills, but he definitely hits hard as hell, and he's definitely been in there with the more experienced guys. So it's going to be very tough for me to pick Walker. I think I have to pick Menifield here. What are the odds?
Menifield minus 225, Walker plus 187.
I don't love that, but still, just based off who he's been in there with, I have to lean Menifield here. What do you think?
I'm leaning Menifield here. I went in this whole fight knowing Menifield's weaknesses, watching Walker tape, and trying to see if his fight game exploits any of those weaknesses. But man, he doesn't have I don't see one punch power in any of those fights I watch. Yeah, he gets guys down. Yeah, he takes them down. Yeah, he pounds them out. But yo, Menifield is arguably one of the better non guys to get taken down. Like his takedown defense is quite good, man. And he does tire out. Do you think this guy he could tire him out? And so now my thing is I haven't seen Julius Walker take a punch like he's gonna take from Alonzo Menifield in any of his fights. He hasn't felt the power of a guy like Alonzo Menifield. If this fight's gonna be a stand-up fight for 2 or 3 rounds, we always talked about Menifield kind of gassing out as he does slow down as fights go longer, but like he's looked better, I guess. He's always going to be a middling guy. He's never going to be at the top of the tier. But guys like this, Julius Walker coming in and doing beat Alonzo Menifield, I don't think so. I think Menifield hits harder. He's more technical, and I think what Julius Walker does good is what Menifield is good at defending. So
All right. Next fight of the night, we got Gene or John Silva, 14-2. Exciting prospect coming up, knocking a lot of guys out, taking on Malik Baghdasaryan, 8-2. Um, I'm gonna sound crazy. This is strictly an odds play. I like Malik Baghdasaryan for the numbers. Like I've always been a fan of this guy. Nobody seems to really know who he is or anything like that. The guy's a hell of a striker, and he just sometimes makes dumb decisions, and then he goes to the ground and he gets tapped on the ground really quickly. Like he terrible ground game. 100% that can be exploited against anybody who wants to shoot a takedown and submit him. Quite easy to do. But Silva's going to oblige to a firefight here, and Silva, I believe, is going to. Like, yes, he probably hits harder. I don't think he's going to be as fast. I mean, he is an explosive guy. I don't want to sound like he's not like, but he's shorter. Like he's more compact and hard hitting, and I think Melsig can play an active kicking game, keep kicking the legs, keep him at range. He's been the strike. I've never seen Baghdasaryan like floored. He's never been knocked out. So I mean, obviously Silva's a knockout artist, but I don't know if he can knock him out. And if it becomes a game of volume and points, I think Baghdasaryan could potentially win a decision here. I don't think he's going to knock Silva out or anything like that, but I think he could have the volume on his side. I'm going to wait closer because I want Silva's odds to just keep growing and growing and growing. But if the odds get crazy, I think the last time I looked, he was already like a plus 300. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think if Baghdasaryan was a pretty huge underdog, I would potentially pick him to win by decision just on volume. The only problem I have with pulling that trigger is he's very inactive. His last 3 fights have been canceled. He hasn't been fighting a whole lot. But every time I watch this guy, I'm impressed with the striking, man. And in a match that's going to be striking only, I've yet to see him get outstruck. So I don't know. That's just my take. I like Silva. I get it. Everybody seems to love the guy. He's active. He hits hard. All the right things. But I don't think he's fought a striker as good as Baghdasaryan, or at least not anytime recently. What do you think?
Baghdasaryan is plus 450. Um, okay, so
Not a parlay piece, but I'm telling you, I might play that
no,
single.
no. All right, so here I agree with you. So my pick is Jean Silva, but if I'm gonna bet this fight, it's Baghdasaryan. You got to understand the logic, people. Like, okay, so I think Silva wins. I really do. I think he's hits harder. He'll look better in front of the judges. I kind of agree with you on the volume part, but like, it's only, Baghdasaryan's been a couple fights where he's gotten those high volume fights. Everything else is in the 70s and stuff. I think if he's in the 70s, Silva wins. But if he's in the 80s and the 90s, there's a good chance he might pull off a decision, right? Now, there's a couple of things here. Silva has used a takedown in a couple of his fights. Baghdasaryan is an awful takedown guy. So if Silva does want to mix it in, we have seen him mix it in. It's not a very big part of his game. Don't get me wrong. But in the first 2 fights in the UFC, he got one takedown each, used it towards, you know, tenderizing his prey. Basically, I would say, you know what I mean? Showing that he does have a bag of tricks. So I think he's shown IQ. And if he is getting severely outstruck on the feet, which could happen, like volume wise, numbers wise. I don't see him not trying to at least take this guy down and pound him out once. He's shown the IQ that he does have it part of his repertoire. Now, Like I said, plus 450 is probably the better play. Minus 600, I don't want to fucking throw it in any parlay, to be quite honest. You want me to make 60 fucking cents? It doesn't make any sense, right? So, yeah, John Silva, I still think wins, but I do agree with you. Plus 450 on a guy in a striking fight that is a striker isn't a bad lay, guys, at all.
All I'm gonna say is Melsik's a way better striker than fucking Drew Dober, who I love. I'm a big Drew Dober fan, but he is a way better striker than Drew Dober, and he's a way better striker than that Canadian Charles Jourdain or whatever.
Jordan, yeah, for sure.
I think it's gonna be a good fight, good scrap.
I agree with you on that one. I just, numbers are off, right?
Yep. Next fight of the night, we got Rob Font, 21-8, taking on the much younger prospect, John Matsumoto, 16-0. Tapology has it 50-50, which is surprising. I would have thought Rob Font would be the underdog here, just because, I mean, I know he's got the experience, I know he's got the hands, but he is looking older. He is slowing down. He has taken a lot of damage. He doesn't show damage very well. He's showing terrible takedown defense against, like, Corey Sandhagen took him down like it was nothing. I don't know. I don't think, like, I think Matsumoto is the stronger athlete, the more well-rounded athlete. I mean, I love rooting for the old guys. I'd love to see Ron Font knock the guy out, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Matsumoto can shoot the takedowns if he needs them, and I just think he's going to be much stronger, just quicker, stronger, better athlete or whatever. I think he's just going to be a little bit too much at this point. I'd love for Rob Font to turn back the clocks here. I don't know. I can't trust the guy. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a fun scrap because Rob Font does like to derail hype trains to be over in the last couple times. Yeah, Sandhagen shit, all that stuff. I get it. I'd be more into Matsumoto if he actually, used takedowns as a very big part of his game. But he got taken down 9 times by Dan Argueta. That was off. And he barely has struck a guy in the Dana White Contender Series. Got taken down twice there. Taken down 3 times against Brad Katona, tied in strikes and won that fight by decision. So he's not blowing the doors off this middling competition. Whereas the last, fights against who did he beat? Rob Font beat Adrian Yanez, lost to Sandhagen, lost to Davis and Figueiredo. Good grapplers. Sandhagen, that's a new part of the game. Kyler Phillips took him down 4 times and he won that fight. I was struck him 65-37 or some shit like that. They don't they don't look at the takedown as much as they used to, and it's shown in these past events, man. Like unless you're doing something with that fucking takedown, they don't give you as much credit as they used to back in the day, and it's quite simply that's the way it's going. So Rob Font just got to scramble out if he does get taken down. And you know what? If Matsumoto, I said, if he used it as a bigger part of his game plan, I don't know. I think it's going to be a striking match, and I think it's going to come down to volume. And Rob Font's always good for volume. Mando struck Marlon Vera 250 to 179 and lost the fight.
Because he doesn't show damage well or whatever.
Damage well, but this is why Matsumoto has come up as he was touted as a grappler coming up into the UFC, and I've yet to see that grappling. Maybe this is the fight, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'll pick our boy Rob Font in this. I'm going to say Rob Font wins. I got a feeling.
All right. Next fight of the night, co-main event. We've got a rematch. Brendan Allen and Fluffy Anthony Hernandez. I mean, at heart, you got to say they're both grapplers. I mean, they've both improved their games to the point where they can strike with whoever. They're both pretty decent at takedowns. They both got heart for sure. They both have card. Honestly, they're pretty similar fucking fighters, I would say, to be honest. Um, I've never been big on fucking Fluffy, but everybody loves him and he just keeps fucking winning. So you can't not acknowledge that. I mean, the guy fucking wins, man. So like even looking at it right now, I want to pick Brendan Allen and say finally somebody's gonna fucking derail this Anthony Hernandez fucking winning streak. But I mean, Hernandez already beat him by decision once. What's Brendan Allen really going to want to do? Is he going to want to strike with him and try to make it a striking match, or is he going to want to try to? I think he's technically probably the bigger guy. I think. I mean, Fluffy doesn't really look to be overly strong, but everybody gasses out if they try. Like you're going to try to use your muscles on him. You gas out, and Hernandez takes over. That's what he does. So It's an interesting fight. Um, I really don't. What are the odds here?
Minus 275 for Fluffy.
Again, that's tempting for me to like. Brendan Allen is a guy who believes in himself. Like he's come a long way. Like the guy was kind of shit like fucking 5 years ago or whatever. Like I wouldn't have pegged him as a very good fighter. And you know what? He's put in the work and he's made a lot of improvements and he's got himself in a pretty decent spot here in the division. There's such close fighters. Um, 5 round fight. Is somebody going to get a submission here? Or is this just going to be a decision because they're both so fairly well rounded? I don't have a strong lean. I just don't like minus 275 on Hernandez. What do you think here?
I like Hernandez. I think it's the gas tank and the incessant wrestling and the incessant pressure that I like the most. I've seen Brendan Allen wear out as fights go. Um, Neither one is a technical striker, but Brendan Allen probably has the better striking out of the two. Um, Fluffy, I would say, has the better gas tank, and he has the better wrestling, to be quite honest with you. Ground games, I think, counter each other. No one's going to tap each other from the bottom. Whoever gets top control probably wins that fight. Um, I mean, my thing is like against top competition, though, right? So I know Fluffy hasn't had as much top competition as Brendan Allen in my eyes, but against top competition, what's the top competition of Brendan Allen had? Chris Curtis, maybe, Nasruddin Imavov, and that's pretty much it. And then Fluffy got his step up in the last three fights, and I think that beating up Edmund was easy. Beating up who was that second guy after Edmund? Roman Kopylov. I mean,
That was a good. That was a good comeback.
yeah, he used his strengths there because he obviously Kopylov was the better striker, but he used his gas tank, he used his wrestling, he used his pressure, and then he beat Michel Pereira's socks off, right? And you're talking about a Michel Pereira that was on a winning streak of hell, and a very good fighter. Honestly, what he did to Michel Pereira, I think Michel Pereira probably have beaten Brendan Allen, and so like I don't know, man. I think Fluffy wins this fight. I think he's the better fighter, hands down.
Cool. Um, Only thing I can say is Brendan Allen seems to have pretty good success against grapplers like Paul Craig. He no problem. Andre Muniz, no problem.
Yeah.
Um,
The
I
knees
don't
no
know.
gas tank, Craig no
No, I
takedown.
know for sure, 100%, 100%. Anthony, absolutely, gas tank, durability, pace, all that shit, 100%, very real. And yeah, no, I totally get it. I think the odds are a little bit wide, personally. All right, next fight of the night, we got the main event. We got Triple C Henry Cejudo 16-4 taking on Yadong Song 21-8-1. I actually like both guys, and I am a fan of the King of Cringe. I've always liked Henry Cejudo, and everybody did. And I get it, he's cringy as hell, but I don't know. I found it funny. But the thing is here, he's old. He's past his prime. Yeah, he gave Sterling a close fight. Yeah, you can make arguments and all this stuff. I get it. Some people will even say he won or it was an extremely close fight, but it doesn't do enough for me. I don't know, man. He dances around the boilet, dances around the fucking octagon and like almost like a Wonder Boy stance with those wide legs and his hand. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Yadong Song is a much better puncher at this point. I think his wrestling is going to be fine. Like I don't think Cejudo is going to put on this vintage wrestling performance from a long time ago where he's going to be picking him up and slamming him for 5 rounds straight. So I think a lot of the fight is going to be striking, and in a striking match, I like Yadong Song to beat Henry Cejudo. And like I said, it pains me to say it, but it's just the old guys are on their way out. Um, yeah, it pains me to say it, but I'm on Yadong Song. I don't think Cejudo's going to be able to out grapple him for 5 rounds straight. So I think there's going to be a lot of striking. I think Yadong Song's the better puncher. I'll just leave it at that. What do you think?
I think he's the better puncher. I think he has more power. I wouldn't say he's quite as they're both pretty technical boxers. I mean, Triple C does look like a little short, stumpy guy in there, but whatever. Here's what it is. Now, man, I mean, I don't like the odds, minus 275 in Yudong Song. I
Oh,
do.
I didn't know that. I thought they'd be
Yeah,
close.
I don't really like that. So like Plus 225 on Triple C, where I don't know what the gas tank's like, but if he can push anywhere like that wrestling that he used to push and mix in the striking with it, like back in the day, Yadong Song wouldn't even be able to wipe with fucking Triple C, right? And be honest with you, so man, I like the odds on Triple C plus 225. I might stab him. I don't think he wins the fight, but I still don't like the odds. So I think Yadong Song's younger, faster, stronger, more technical. Probably doesn't get taken down that many times because he hasn't really got ridden out too much. I mean, Peter Yan took him down twice. Kind of that sucks, but Peter Yan's a very
A pretty
good.
good wrestler.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's that takedown. It's Aljo that makes you look stupid. It's basically Aljo that makes you look stupid usually. That might just be the thing, right? So, I mean, Cejudo's only fought top guys. This is the step down for Henry Cejudo. Like, quite honestly, if you him up against the last four guys that he's fought, it's like Marab, Sterling, Dominic Cruz, and well, I guess Marlon Moraes is the shit, right? So, like, Dong Song would knock that guy's face off. But Yang Song would probably have some problems with Dominic Cruz in his prime and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. I don't like the odds. I'm probably gonna shoot a shot on Cejudo for a small cash, but I do think Song Yadong wins the fight. I mean, this card here, man, is not parlayable. I don't see a very good. I don't find it very parlayable. So pick your spots wisely. I'm gonna take a couple shots on some underdogs. I like the one you picked earlier. I like Triple C. Um, I mean, and that's about it.
I actually think it's like a singles and props card. Like I think
Yeah, I
you're looking
agree.
at on the favorites. You got to find a prop. Oh, it's dogs or props.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. I agree with you.
All right, guys, there you have it. That's the full card breakdown. Drop us your favorite dog or your favorite prop. Anything that you found that you want us to look at. Let's hear about it. Good luck Saturday, and we'll see you for the next one.